Welcome to Complete Aviation Solutions Deep Dive number 86.
Good to be here.
Our mission today, well, it's the same as always. We dig into the sources you've given us, pull out the key info, the important insights, basically give you that shortcut to being really up to speed on what's happening in aviation right now.
Mm,
And based on the material for today, we've got a few pretty distinct threads. We'll look at plans for selling off a regional airline subsidiary.
right.
Then we'll jump into a big update on a national airline's privatization process.
The significant one, yeah.
And finally, explore the details, some surprising ones actually, around a potential new international route with some, let's say, interesting history.
Definitely some layers there.
Okay, let's unpack this. So first topic. These plans from the source is about a specific airline's regional subsidiary. Looks like the parent company wants to sell it.
That's the gist of it. And the material describes this subsidiary as, well, dormant and bankrupt currently.
Dormant and bankrupt. That's quite a label.
It is. The plan, they say, is to get the sale done by the end of 2025.
Okay, end of next year.
And this subsidiary, you might remember it, it used to be known as AirConnect. The sale is supposed to happen after it finishes restructuring.
Ah, so there's a restructuring process first.
Exactly, which is also maybe conveniently expected to finish by the end of this year. And the CEO, interestingly, is quoted saying there are already 4 parties showing interest.
4 parties, even in its current state.
Seems so.
Now, the sources also flagged a report, I think from Italian media last year, claiming another startup had already bought it.
Yeah, I saw that mentioned. But the current CEO flatly denied it.
Yeah.
Said that other company never actually made a binding offer. So maybe some premature reporting back then.
Right, underlines it's not a done deal. And the current state, what about its fleet?
Well, that's part of the dormant picture. It used to operate 2 ATR 72-600s.
Used to.
Yeah, those planes have been transferred over to the mainline carrier. So right now, the subsidiary has 0 active aircraft.
0. Okay, so definitely not flying.
Not at all. And the why behind this state, it's complicated. First, it's Air Operator Certificate, the AOC, its license to fly. That was suspended by the Romanian authorities back in November 2024.
Suspended? Do you know why?
The sources don't actually say why, just that it happened, and crucially, it's still suspended.
Okay, still suspended.
Then, fast forward to January 2025, the company officially entered bankruptcy reorganization.
And the reason for that was?
Pretty straightforward. Couldn't pay its debts. Mounting debts specifically.
Yeah.
So what's really fascinating, and you need to grasp this to see the path forward, is how these things are all tangled up.
How so?
The restructuring is meant to fix the debt problems that led to bankruptcy. But to actually be an airline again, it needs that AOC back. So you've got the debt, the bankruptcy process, the operational restructuring, and the suspended AOC. All of them need to be sorted out before that end of 2025 sale target seems realistic, or before a serious buyer steps in.
That definitely paints a much clearer and much more complex picture. Okay, let's shift gears then. From a struggling regional subsidiary to a much larger national carrier, PIA, and its own big challenges with privatization. The headline news here, from the sources, is a deadline extension for potential buyers.
That's right. The original cutoff was June 3rd. It's been pushed back 15 days.
15 days, so the new date is?
June 19th. The official reason given by a spokesperson was apparently the Eid al-Adha holidays.
Okay, plausible enough.
Plausible, yes. But the sources also sort of hint, subtly, that the delay might also be about encouraging, and this is their phrase, broader participation.
Broader participation, which could mean they're hoping for more bidders, maybe better bids?
You could certainly read it that way.
Okay.
Especially since, as you pointed out earlier, this isn't their first rodeo.
Exactly. The sources remind us this is another attempt by the government to sell off a big slice 51 to 100% after it didn't work out last year.
And it looks like the government is trying to make the deal sweeter this time around. Quite a bit sweeter, actually.
How so? What are they doing?
Well, 2 big things mentioned. First, they've apparently taken PKR $45 billion. That's about, USD $159 million in old liabilities off the airline's books.
Wow, okay. Cleaning up the balance sheet.
Significantly.
Yeah.
And second, any buyer reportedly won't have to pay the standard 18% general sales tax on buying new aircraft for PIA.
That's a pretty major incentive for fleet renewal.
Definitely. And if you zoom out, this whole privatization push, it's not happening in isolation.
Right, there's a wider context.
Yes, the sources frame it as part of a bigger deal the government has with an international financial body. Think IMF or similar.
Ah, okay. Bailout conditions.
Essentially, securing a large bailout package seems linked to this privatization, and the expectation is clear. Whoever buys PIA needs to inject capital, buy new planes, and actually run the airline properly day to day.
So it's not just buying an airline, it's committing to a major turnaround.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it really highlights, the tightrope governments walk when trying to sell off these big, often troubled state-owned assets. They often have to offer significant concessions just to get buyers interested.
Shows the depth of the challenge, for sure. Okay, final piece from the sources today. This one takes us geographically far afield. We're looking at potential new flights connecting Nigeria and the Caribbean.
Yeah, Air Peace from Nigeria and Antigua and Barbuda specifically.
And the timeline they're talking about?
The sources say they're looking at maybe the fourth quarter of 2025, so still a way off. Discussions are ongoing between the airline and Antigua's government.
Okay, Q4 2025. And who announced this?
It was actually Antigua's prime minister, apparently during a parliamentary session discussing air service agreements with other African countries, too.
Interesting. Now, what makes this really stand out is the history here, right? The sources detail some previous attempts.
Yes, there's definitely some backstory. Air Peace itself flew a couple of charter flights to Antigua back in August and October 2023.
Okay, so recent charters.
But even before that, there was another short-lived effort with charters in late 2022. That one was actually a private-public partnership.
With government involvement.
Yeah, the Antiguan government had a stake, apparently through their citizenship by investment program.
Huh. And why was it short-lived?
Well, according to the sources, it ended abruptly in early 2023 because of some pretty serious concerns.
Like what?
Specifically, issues around passenger vetting and, significantly, allegations related to human trafficking. That prompted the government to suspend the flights and review protocols.
Wow. Okay. Vetting and trafficking allegations, those are huge red flags in aviation. So how are they approaching this potential new partnership with Air Peace now, given that past experience?
It's a good question. The sources quote the Prime Minister acknowledging they learned lessons from that episode.
Acknowledging it publicly.
Yes, and stating that better controls are now in place. The goal this time, explicitly stated, is to attract genuine wealthy tourists.
Genuine wealthy tourists. Trying to signal a shift in focus, perhaps address those previous concerns.
Seems to be the message, yes.
There's also another piece here. An affiliated company, linked somehow to Air Peace, bought a majority stake, 70%, in Antigua's local inter-island airline, LIA 2020 Ltd.
Right, with the Antiguan government holding the other 30%. That airline provides key connections in the region, especially after the original LIA collapsed during the pandemic.
Okay, so there's this affiliate involvement in the local carrier, too.
And this is where, as you hinted earlier, it gets really interesting. This affiliate company, the sources say it has tried to distance itself from the main Nigerian airline, Air Peace.
Distance itself? Why?
Well, specifically distance itself from Air Peace's chairman and CEO because he apparently faces some serious legal trouble in the U.S., an arrest warrant and indictment related to obstruction of justice.
Okay, that's significant. So the affiliate is trying to say we're separate.
That seems to be the attempt, but the sources pretty bluntly call this distancing smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors, how so?
They detail the ownership. The affiliate's private shareholders, they include the Air Peace chairman's wife, who also happens to be Air Peace's vice chairwoman. And their 4 children are shareholders too. Plus, some shareholders in this separate affiliate company are also directors at Air Peace itself.
So despite the claims of separation, the family and business ties are incredibly close.
Deeply intertwined, exactly. It paints a picture of a complex corporate structure, with these significant legal issues hanging over a key figure right alongside these ambitions for a new international route. It adds a whole other layer of complexity.
Wow, yeah. That's definitely a tangled web. Okay, so let's recap. We've covered quite a bit today, from the tricky sale of a dormant regional airline,
facing those big hurdles with restructuring, bankruptcy, and its AOC,
to the high-stakes game of privatizing a national carrier like PIA, with deadline extensions and significant government incentives involved.
driven partly by those international bailout conditions. Yeah.
And finally, the potential new Nigeria-Caribbean route layered with past controversies and these really intricate, almost hidden corporate and family connections.
And if you step back and sort of connect the dots between these stories,
Yeah.
well, even though they're geographically diverse and involve different scales of operations, they really showcase just how dynamic and sometimes, frankly, how messy the aviation business is right now.
Dynamic and messy.
You see companies grappling with financial distress, governments deeply involved in national assets, airlines trying to navigate the fallout from past failures, and these incredibly complex international partnerships being forged, sometimes with less than transparent structures. It's constant change, dealing with old problems and new ambitions all at once.
It certainly feels that way. So, thinking about the specific situations we've just unpacked from the sources, the Aerotalia subsidiary, PIA's privatization, the Air Peace Antigua plans, what does all this tell you, our listener, about the sheer variety of forces shaping airlines today? You've got economic pressures, tough regulations, historical baggage, corporate politics, even personal legal issues influencing strategy across the globe. It's definitely a lot to think about.
Indeed it is.
Keep exploring, keep reflecting on the information. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.